It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
And welcome everybody to our Tuesday edition of our Daily Gun Show, where we do content creation coaching. And we've got our little co-host here, the puppy co-host, eagerly wondering what's going on over here. That's not biscuits. Sorry, puppy. All right, so today, since we had this conversation earlier in the week someplace, I thought let's talk about media kits. So getting ready for SHOT Show. One of the reasons we started the show on Tuesdays was to get ready for SHOT Show. SHOT Show is a great time to have a media kit spruced up. It's a great piece of kit to bring with you. Let's chat about them. I asked our internet robot brains what they think about media kits, and I actually got quite a bit of good data. So we have stuff to work with here. As people roll in, feel free to say, hey, we do this mostly for the podcast. For people that don't know, people that listen on YouTube, we're one of the top 10% of all podcasts out there. So most of our audience is in the podcast realm. But we record it live on the YouTube. This way we can use the interactive nature of this StreamYard software that we use, and that lets me fiddle with my camera and bring my puppy co-host in. How's this? Does this work? There we go. Puppy co-host. We got a new camera angle going on here, so no monitors in the back. The monitors are now up here in front. So, not sure if this is working or not, but we're trying it out. Puppy does not seem to care one way or the other. All right, so let me see if I'm going to bring up the screen here, and we can use that for looking at, because Puppy hardly ever brings anything up of value when we're talking about content creation. Anyway, we do this live, and thanks to the people that are joining us live. Looks like Gizzard is the first one here, the only one here this morning, as far as we can tell. Throughout a 13-month member. Hello, welcome. Thanks for that. As you'll notice at the bottom of the screen where the puppy's looking right now, it says Patreons make it possible for us to spend time on projects like these. And the Patreons are people that subscribe to what we do. So thanks to those folks. What was I trying to do here? Why don't we just bring the video over and look at the description of it? I haven't really put it anywhere. Let's see. We might do a bit of a poll. If someone has an idea for a poll here, let me know. I think I had a couple of ideas as I was putting this together, and now I'm trying to talk and type and everything at the same time. I can't remember what I was thinking. That didn't work, so I'm going to try it again by zooming this over and zooming in. There we go. This is probably a little easier to see. So media kits, essentially, we're going to just demystify what they even are. Then we'll construct a potent one. We'll tailor it. We'll give some real-world examples and some strategic deployment. And we'll see how that works for everybody. So again, this is something that is designed to help folks who are creating their content to enhance it, or to take it to the next level, or maybe just to get started, right? So again, if anybody else besides Gary is out here watching live, then feel free to leave some comments. Gary can leave comments if he wants, but leave some comments on media kits, what your opinion of them is. Do you have a media kit? It's something that you've had success with, or the opposite? Have you had failure with them? According to the internet, though, it's something that every creator needs, a media kit, whether you're a pro or just starting. Stick around for some practical insights on how to make them work for you, right? So, definition, a media kit is your content's resume. It tells collaborators and sponsors who you are, what you do, and why they should care. Even if you're not a big shot yet, having a media kit makes you look like a pro and opens doors. That's an interesting aspect. So it looks like they've broken it down between the definition, universal relevance, and strategic benefits. I really like that. It took me a while to hone in on this definition or this set of descriptions for the video. It started out really general and I kept narrowing it in. So I think I'm most satisfied with this one. So again, I'll reiterate that one. Even if you're not a big shot yet, having a media kit makes you look pro and opens doors. And then the strategic benefit of this is that a solid media kit builds credibility, streamlines communications, and attracts opportunities. If you wish you could sell lemonade, wishing in the kitchen is not the same as having a stand out on the side of the road. So having that media kit, it allows for these opportunities, I guess a good word. So the next thing is constructing a potent media kit. The essential components. Let's see, we've got the author's showcase. Write a bio that doesn't put people to sleep. Learn to share your journey, your values, and perspective in a way that clicks with your audience. Okay. Visual brilliance. Your portfolio is your highlight reel. Get tips on choosing and presenting your best work to show you're the real deal. That's interesting. And then numbers that matter. Analytics aren't just for geeks. Find out how to translate your numbers into a language collaborators and sponsors understand. Well, it might be easy to say, but seeing some examples of that could help. But essentially what it's saying is you want to catch people's attention and share your overall passion, interest, goals, so that you're not just you're more than just a sum of your parts, more than just your numbers. They can see where you're going with your project. And then that says, get tips on choosing and presenting. So I'm wondering really what this thing was thinking. I guess it knew this was going to be a conversation, so maybe the collaboration there. Or I'm thinking you could probably ask your audience, the people that watch and look forward to, enjoy your projects, your content, asking them what would be your highlights is probably an option there if you're struggling to figure out what your highlights might be. Can you get this dog to be centered? I need to put him in some kind of a contraption that keeps him centered in the screen all the time. Maybe some kind of a pillow you could lean against. He's in that mode where he's asleep, but he refuses to sit down because he thinks I'm talking to him. And I used to be talking to the wall, and now I'm not. I'm almost positive he thinks I'm talking to him right now. There's nobody else in the room, and I'm kind of looking at him. So he's probably just trying to not be rude and fall asleep right in front of me. But he is a baby, and he's about to fall asleep here. We better hurry up. The show's on. All right, next up is... I guess we'll just move on from that one. We're not getting a lot of feedback out there. Saab is joining us as well. Welcome. Let me know if you guys want to jump in after. Looks like it'll be a quick show. There's not much going on. Next one up is tailoring your media kit, a niche-focused approach. The art of customization. Generic won't cut it. Tailor your media kit to your niche. So collaborators know you get your you get your audience. No, you get your audience. Wow, that's some real writing for a robot, huh? It was using some really flowery language, so I told it to quit using the flowery language, and it gave me pretty good language, I think. Pretty good words here. I keep muting a cough. I'm drinking my coffee over here on the side. It's actually more hot chocolate at this point than coffee. I started out with coffee, and then Started adding water and more chocolate to it. So it's mostly hot chocolate at this point. Okay, somebody's stretching. You going to sleepy? Maybe not. Let's see. So tailor your media kit to your niche so collaborators know you get your audience. Okay. Audience synergy. Speak your audience's language. Yo. Discover how to customize your media kit to match what your fans want. No cap. Make it slapping. Real world niche mastery. See how successful creators nailed it with niche focused media kits. I don't know if I believe that one or not. Usually I believe everything the robots tell me to believe, but in this case, I'm not sure if I like this one. Look, I woke the dog up saying that. Snob is saying, need to make some kind of immediate kit. I've never bothered with it, but I could see a benefit to having one. Oh my goodness. I just assumed you had one at this point with your success and your experience, time on the clock, so to speak. I want to apologize to everyone for my sleepy co-host who refuses to lay down and just go to sleep. Like I say, I've moved the room around a little bit here, and I'm pretty sure he thinks I'm talking to him. So he's trying to not be rude, and it's essentially sleep sitting. All right, so we've got the niche focused one. I don't like saying niche that much, but I'm not sure if I agree with that one. I guess I kind of understand it. I understand tailoring your media kit, but focusing it down to a niche, I don't know. For us, I don't know. Maybe I'm trying to think maybe for like something else, but even, I don't know. I'm trying to, that would be an interesting conversation to have. Now it says number 4, real world exemplars. This show's going to be over in like 15 minutes. Learning from Media Kit success stories, showcasing triumphs, real stories where Media Kits paved the way for big opportunities. Well, that doesn't really help us because that's just saying a bunch of words. I guess Media Kits must have done this before. I'm sure they aren't always necessary, and I'm sure that just by existing, they don't do all the work for you. But yeah, thanks, Internet. I don't know if that really helped us that much. The next one says case studies, breakdown of success stories. Learn from the pros and apply it to your own game. Well, it started just saying the first thing over again. Unapologetically Armed is joining us. You know, I've got my screens all goofy here, so let me put my screens to where I can actually see what's going on. I have, for some reason, have to turn all the way around to be able to see if anybody's joining in. And then Tactical Fud is joining us. Welcome. Again, I apologize for my dog being filthy, being gross, right in front of everybody. It comes from his lack of upbringing. I got him after he's already learned all these bad habits. He's super bored. He doesn't even have a media kit. I'm pretty sure he doesn't even have a media kit. I'm not really happy with this real world exemplars. I probably should have known because it has exemplars in it, but we'll keep going. Now it says strategic deployment. Using your media kit for collaborations and sponsorships. The art of approach. How to introduce your media kit without sounding like a sales pitch. And then negotiation tactics. Whether you're a rookie or a veteran, learn to adjust your pitch based on what your media kit says. All right. And then avoiding pitfalls. Common mistakes to dodge when choosing collaborations. Be smart and learn from others. Interesting. So it started out a lot better than it ended. I have no idea why I'm coughing so much today. Holy moly. But I'm going to go back over to the robot. And while it's still talking about this stuff, I'm going to say, how do you introduce your media kit without sounding like a sales pitch? Because that sounds like an interesting frustration that a lot of people would have. Not interesting, but it sounds like a frustration that a lot of people would have. All right, so it actually came up with some answers. Let me know, would you rather see... I guess we'll watch the comments. There you go. So now as people comment, they'll show up on the screen here, and that'll be more interesting than just watching nothing here, or maybe just watching the puppy. So I asked the robot, how do you introduce your media kit without sounding like a sales pitch? And it answered, introducing your media kit without coming across as overly salesy requires a balance between confidence and authenticity. Here is a step-by-step guide to making a compelling introduction. Start with a casual greeting. Begin with a friendly and casual greeting. Avoid diving directly into business. Instead, create a comfortable atmosphere. Hey, puppy, how's it going? Lick any good things lately? Sniff anything good? Express genuine interest. Briefly express genuine interest in the person or organization you're addressing. Mention something specific about their work that resonates with you. Oh, you sniffed a tree, huh? I like trees. That's pretty good. I hope it smelled good. It smelled like pee, huh? What do you know? Emphasize mutual... Wait, hold on. Now, provide context for the media kit. Offer a brief context for sharing your media kit. For example, mention that you thought it would be beneficial for them to have a comprehensive overview of your work and background. Hey, speaking of trees, have you ever thought about getting one of our media kits? And that way you can learn about our content. Looks like he doesn't care. He got disinterested as soon as I brought that up. I got to work on my pitch, I guess. Emphasize that it is not just about you, but creating a smooth and efficient collaboration and partnership. Oh, wait, I forgot to emphasize mutual benefit, highlight how having a media kit can be mutually beneficial. Well, I probably shouldn't have had the little demonstration here with the puppy because it lost my focus on this thing. So I think it's good up until number 4 here, and then I'm not sure. I'm going along with it here. So focus on information, not promotion. Position your media kit as a resource rather than a promotional tool. Stress that it's designed to provide relevant information, making it easier for them to understand your content and potential collaboration points. That's pretty interesting. In other words, you probably already sold them on working with you. This is just for them to have some idea of how to work with you and in what way. Highlight key sections. Point out specific sections in your media kit that you believe will be of particular interest to them. This shows that you've tailored the information and aren't presenting a one-size-fits-all pitch. Well, that's going to be tough at like SHOT Show because you're probably going to have your media kit, if you bring one, printed out. So you're going to have one media kit. You can change this up by having, especially if you print your media kit, you could have some interchangeable pages. So maybe your page on your resume, you might tweak that to be, more knives if you're talking to a knife person and more backpacks if you're talking to a backpack person. Let's see. Next up was B. Be concise and respectful. Keep your introduction concise. Respect their time by delivering a message that is clear, focused, and to the point. Yeah, I've been having difficulty whether or not to make my kit like 6 pages or 4 pages sometimes. Kind of cover sheets and summaries. Sometimes you look at them and they're unnecessary, and other times you look at them and they kind of are necessary. So I'm not sure if there's an answer to that one. Now, if it's a digital media kit, that's a little bit different. And then it says, open the door for questions. Conclude by inviting questions or additional information they might need. This reinforces an open and collaborative tone, shifting the conversation away from a one-sided sales pitch. And then they give an example. Hey, puppy, I hope well. I've been sure mentioned something. You're sniffing. Uh-oh, lost my internet. Are we back? It's hard to know when I'm back. There's like a weird lag. Oh, wait, I'm assuming I'm back. Not sure, but it looks like my screens are back. Snob is saying 2023. So I'm not back. Take the thing. Benefits print media kit versus digital. Than to print it myself to look for spelling errors, but I figure the person on the other end is probably going to print it. So it is potentially always going to be printed unless you create it in such a way that it can't be printed. If you created a video or an audio media kit or an element to your media kit that's visual in a audio in a video way, that wouldn't be printable. She had good internet. It's his job to make the internet work good, and he doesn't do it. All right, I'm going to go back to the example here. I've been following your project and have been truly impressed with the aspect that's so specific that I'm highlighting. I thought it might be beneficial for our potential collaboration if I share my media kit with you. The media kit is a comprehensive overview of our work, including a bit about my journey, featured projects, and audience engagement. I believe it can offer a clearer picture of what I bring to the table without getting into any nitty-gritty details. Feel free to take a look, and if you have any questions or need information, I'm here to help. Looking forward to the possibility of working together. I don't know. What do you think about this one? I mean, it's pretty formal, but still succinct. AR Guns, welcome. Being that it's... Oh, you already said that one. So let's ask that one to the robot out here. Being that it's 2023, is there still a whatever? I'm going to ask this robot and see what it says. I think, though, that there's no reason to carry it around with you in 2023, to SHOT Show at least, because it's going to get destroyed. Can you imagine trying to carry some pieces of paper around? You'd have to carry a briefcase or something. Something rigid, some kind of a Pelican case or something crazy. Crazy because it would be heavy and unwieldy to carry it around in SHOT Show all the time. Oh, wow. So it prefaces that it hasn't been online since January. Oh, my last knowledge update is January 23. So it's fairly recent, but it's almost a year old now. It's a year stupid, in other words. But that's pretty good. It's been updated since when it was first born, at least. So anyway, I asked it, being that it's 2023, is there still a benefit to having a print media kit versus digital? And its answer is digital media kits offer accessibility. In the digital age, accessibility is critical. Digital media kits can be easily shared through email, websites, cloud storage, making them readily available to anyone with an internet connection. There's interactivity. A digital media kit allows for multimedia elements, interactive features, and hyperlinks, providing a more engaging and dynamic experience for the recipient. That's a good point. I put links to, PayPal and the other payment methods right in the PDF that I send. Real-time updates. Digital media kits can be updated in real time, ensuring that the information is always current. This is particularly beneficial in industries where information changes frequently. I don't know. If you got some kind of online editor, you could do that on your phone or something, I guess. I don't get that crazy about it. I mean, I might edit it right before a shot or something, but I'm not going to edit it while I'm walking around a shot. But technically, you could. Now, here's what it says for print media kits. It's a tactile presence. A print media kit can create a tactile and memorable experience. Physical documents can leave a lasting impression and may stand out in certain contexts. Targeted distribution. In situations where face-to-face interactions are common, such as networking events or conferences, a print media kit can be a valuable leave behind for potential collaborators or sponsors. It's a big point. And then brand perception. Depending on the industry, a well-designed and professionally printed media kit might enhance the perceived value and professionalism of your brand. I think those are all good points. Now it says considerations in 2023. Environmental impact. As the environmental consciousness grows, some individuals and organizations may prefer a digital media kit to reduce the waste. Of course, at Chacho, that's going to be primary on everybody's mind. Then we get, cost and efficiency. Digital media kits can be more cost effective and efficient, especially when considering the costs associated with printing and shipping physical materials. That's super easy nowadays. Audience preferences. Understanding the preferences of your target audience is crucial. Some may prefer the convenience of digital, while others may appreciate the tangible nature of print, which is just stating the obvious. Conclusion. The 2023, the trend has been leading towards digital due to their practicality and cost effectiveness, environmental considerations. However, the choice between print and digital should be based on your specific audience, industry norms, and the context which you'll be sharing your media kit. Always stay attuned to the current trends and preferences. So they basically told us everything we already know. But sometimes it's just good to hear that stuff. So I guess the robot was worth its time there. But I think going back in there, you're looking at SHOT Show specifically. Are you going to leave a piece of paper behind? Is it a piece of paper or is it 5 pieces of paper? Did you bind those 5 pieces of paper together with a staple at the top, like some kind of government form? Or is it bound together with some sort of expensive or elaborate binding process? An inexpensive binding has like a big spiral thing on it, and it's bulky. And if you've stacked it, it's going to make the stack fall over. So people are going to have a tendency to either put it on top or throw it away. So that's a double-edged sword. If you use a fancy binding process, the more expensive type, it's going to be like a softcover book, and it's not going to cause the pile to fall over, but it's going to cost you a fortune to bind 5 pieces together like that, like a fortune. You could fold a regular piece of paper, a big piece of paper in half, and staple it so it's like a booklet. And, that's a possibility. There's no binding there. It will stack. People might hold on to it. That's probably your best bet if it's going to be multi-page. But where do you get that printed? Do you have 11 by 14 paper to print that on? Because that's, I think, what you need. Okay, so there's some considerations if you're going to have a multi-page thing at SHOT Show. So you're carrying the media kit around, and they're at a booth. They're going to be getting stuff at their booth that they brought to the booth. They're going to be getting stuff to their booth that somebody at SHOT Show comes around and gives them, or, like the official stuff, like here's the union paperwork or here's your bill. They've got their own stuff that they need to keep track of from SHOT Show, and they may or may not be prepared for that. And then they're going to be everybody else at SHOT Show who's just handing them stuff, not work, but just, hey, here's a petition. Hey, here's our product. Hey, will you take this because I'm getting paid to hand it out? Like whatever, right? They're going to get a bunch of just stuff. They may or may not throw that stuff away depending on their interest and their experience at SHOT Show. And then they're going to get other people like you, other media, other people who are interested in, working with them, and they may or may not file that stuff away. They might not be prepared, may or may not be prepared for that paper. So the ultimate answer, I think, is to have both, which is super frustrating because now you have to do both, right? Is the same media kit the same for digital and print? It's going to be if you only get for print, you give them a version of that. If you're digital one, you do something that makes it worth their digital. Maybe, it depends. So anyway, I don't know if there's an answer to this one. It's a tough one. I've definitely carried stuff around at SHOT Show over the years before, and it's super frustrating. We had to back in the old days, so I had to. And then I didn't as soon as I didn't have to. And then some years, depending on what's been going on, I have carried stuff again. I just carried stuff 2 years ago, actually. It was a massive pain in the ass. But, man, and then here's the thing. If you carry something around, that's an unusual act of determination and effort that other people aren't willing to do. So some people are going to get that piece of paper from you and understand the significance. You brought this piece of paper with you, you carried it around all day, and you're giving me one. Like, if you gave one to everybody, you'd be out of them in 5 minutes. If you never gave them to, there's some significance to carrying around a piece of paper. It's a bit of indication of your motivation or your effort. But then other people are going to probably look at that and go, man, they could have just gave me digital. What is this person carrying this around for? And that's the problem, is you never know. And there's going to be people that are going to look at that piece of paper and go, man, there's just one more thing I got to carry out of this place. So it's tough to know. Ahead of time, you might ask people you want to work with, hey, I'd like to give you a media kit. Would you prefer digital or paper? And you might know. It's probably worth carrying a few paper ones with you, maybe even coming up with an alternative thing that's half the size of a regular one, just so that if that person is expecting or looking for something on paper, you have something, but that you're not stressing yourself out carrying it around. But digital, 100%. You have to have a digital one at this point. So the answer to the question, for my opinion, being that it's 2023 and is there still a benefit to having a print one? Yes, but only for certain things. You definitely need the digital one. You want to have possibly 2 or 3 digital ones, and then, to use for whatever scenario, and then maybe some paper stuff. Now, I think an alternative is to have something else print to leave behind. Has anyone ever heard of a patch before? Now you're leaving something behind, something tangible, all those benefits of the print, the tactile presence, the targeted distribution, the brand perception. But now you're leaving them something that if they like it, boom, it's on their wall. They're going to stick it right on their wall. Or if they don't appreciate it, they don't dig that, they're probably going to give it to somebody who does, right? So it's still going to be appreciated because now it's trading fodder. Let's see, unapologetically arms. Oh, She Fires, joining in. Welcome. Mr. Show this weekend. I was farting around on Sunday, I think. The DC, the good-looking and concise leave behind documents. In DC, the good-looking and concise leave behind documents we presented at meetings were very well received. Oh, now I get it. In DC, the good-looking and concise leave behind documents we presented at meetings were very well perceived. Okay, now you're on their turf. You carried the stuff in knowing you're going to be at their offices, and you gave them something that they can file away or use to make copies of. So they didn't have to print it, and you've given them probably a really nice copy that they might not be able to even print as nicely. So essentially they have like an original. So that makes a lot of sense. But the thing is, when you're going to DC with the Women for Gun Rights organization, which everyone should support, you look up the delegate in your state and help them. It's ladies that are going to DC on the regular each year and more on their own dimes with their own time. So any help you give them is appreciated, even if it's just support. But as capitalists, we really should be able to support them financially as well. But they're saying, or unapologetically armed is saying that leaving them behind is a great idea. And again, I think that's awesome when you're walking in and leaving them. And I know that you usually talk to 5. I don't know if it's 5 a day or 5 at a time, but you have a known number that you're going to be dropping them off. At SHOT Show, we don't know if we're going to talk to 4 people today or 40 people today that might be worthwhile leaving a media kit with. Optimistically, you'd want to carry as many as you could each day, knowing that you could print off more in the evening if they weren't fancy. You needed to go to like a print shop or something. But you're going to be carrying a bunch around, and you're going to have a tendency to want to give them away. So anyway, I think it's a little bit different factor when you're walking so many miles and so much distance, and your bag is going to it's going to be full all day. Normally, you can walk in the morning with an empty bag, and by the end of the day, it's full. But when you're in this kind of situation, you'd be walking in with a bag that already has weight, and you'd be hoping to offload some of it. That's what you brought it for. But you'd probably be picking up stuff along the way, so you'd have a heavy bag all day. Snob is saying, I feel like that at SHOT Show, something like in print, even like a pamphlet would get lost in the shuffle. Yeah, I think a pamphlet would definitely get lost in the shuffle or have more tendency for sure. But I think again, when I was saying have something digital and then something to hand off, a threefold pamphlet is probably an option because it's one piece of paper. It is a little bit bigger. It offers some amount of interactivity because they're opening it, and you can play with that a little bit and have more and more information as they open it. Have some really interesting stuff on the outside, so hopefully it doesn't get lost. But that's a good point. It is. There's so much stuff going on at SHOT Show, and then I can't imagine anyone really wants stuff at their booth. But on the other hand, that being said, they're not really carrying that stuff. It is all going on carts and in wagons, and somebody's pushing it around. It's going into a vehicle. So it's really just a matter of you don't know. All right, so then kids are saying hey to everybody, and then Shefire says, I did create a media kit, but I just have it handy in case it's requested. Canva has templates. Yeah, that's a good point. Most of the software out there these days has some sort of a template, and usually what's going to look good to you is going to give let them know this is kind of your style and what your interests are. And if they're in anywhere near the same realm, they're going to have either the same interests or understand that there's, you represent a group of people with those interests. So I think there's something to be said for using those templates. At first, I used to just start with a blank page and build everything. But the last, I don't even know how many times I've started with a template myself. I have a little bit different opinion on what the thing's going to look like. I don't think there's a perfect way for it to look. So I personally just make it look different each time. And sometimes I'm happy with it. And sometimes I think it looks kind of ugly. But I know that half the time I think something's ugly, everybody else likes it. So, I use those templates to kind of get kind of a generic, useful thing. Oh, I think we got that one already. John Z's out there, welcome. Arthritis is hurting. Too bad. Sorry to hear. All right, well, so getting back to, that's everybody's comments. If you got a comment, feel free to drop them in here. I'll probably go an hour today since this one is tough. If someone had some examples, we could take a look at them, but no one knew to bring examples. If anybody wants to throw some out, of course, feel free. But let's go in and take a look at, again, some of the stuff from the description here. So essentially it says, that media kits can be important. So you want to have a decent one, a potent one, they call it. And they say they have these elements or these components: a bio that doesn't put people to sleep, and a portfolio that's your highlight reel, and some analytics. So the portfolio that's a highlight reel is going to be pretty much what we've already created out there. So everybody will have a different pile to choose from. But let's say, how do we write a bio that doesn't put people to sleep? So I'm going to type that into the robot. How to write a bio that doesn't put people to sleep. And the answer is start with a hook. Begin your bio with a captivating hook that immediately grabs attention. This could be a surprising fact, an interesting anecdote, or a unique aspect of your journey. Second point is to be concise. Keep it concise and to the point. People generally lose interest in lengthy bios. Aim for a brief and impactful narrative that highlights the key aspects of your story. And since I asked a general one, I'd say that probably I would add to that, that focuses on what your whole media kit's about, right? If you've done 6 or 8 things in your life, talk about the 1 or 2 that has to do with what you're both working on here. Show personality, inject some personality into your bio. Share a bit about your interests, quirks, or hobbies. This helps readers connect with you on a more personal level. And I think sometimes that can be accomplished with a photograph or maybe even the layout. Relevant achievements. Focus on relevant achievements. Highlight accomplishments that are directly related to your field or the purpose of the bio. Quantify your success when possible. You don't want to assume anything, that's for sure. You don't want to assume people have seen that or heard of that. Man, I don't know what's going on. I'm coughing all over the day. You don't want to assume that they've seen your thing or they watched the viral thing that you did or the Instagram thing. You don't want to assume anything. Use a conversational tone. Write in conversational tone as if you're speaking directly to someone. Avoid overly formal or jargon-heavy language that might alienate your audience. I definitely follow problem. I have a problem with that all the time. Tell a story. Frame your bio as a story. Take the reader on a journey, starting from your background to your current endeavors. This narrative structure keeps the reader engaged. I'd say can keep the reader engaged. Let's see. Inject humor if appropriate. If humor aligns with your personality and the context, don't be afraid to sprinkle in a touch of wit. Humor can make your bio memorable and enjoyable to read. I think that could also be accomplished with maybe the layout or like an image or two or something, or maybe even with the projects that you highlight. You know, if the project that you highlight is, something that was a tongue in cheek or something, that might be a way to kill two birds there. Highlight your passion. Clearly convey your passion for what you do. Explain why you love your work and express enthusiasm. Passion is contagious and can resonate with readers. And I think that also, you, at least for SHOT Show, you want to think that not everyone is looking for a carbon copy of themselves. You know, if they're competitive shooters and they're selling, I don't know, grips or something, maybe they're saturated with competition shooters, and maybe they are looking for somebody who's CCW, or they're looking for somebody who's I don't know, just does glamour shots or something, or they're looking for somebody who I don't know, what's another reason for grips, somebody that wants grips for engraving or something. So it's possible that they're looking to diversify a bit. So including your interests, I think, can be useful so that they understand what their options are when they're potentially looking at your media kit on a table with some other people's. 3 or 4 of the other options are essentially carbon copies of their own projects. They might be looking for something a little bit different. I'm losing my internet again. It's because I'm flipping around flipping around this Civivi. Is that what's doing it? If you flip around to Civivi, does that lose your internet? Include relevant details. It includes details that are relevant to your audience. What makes you stand out in your field? What unique perspective or approach do you bring? I've never done that. I guess that's an interesting one. And then end with a call to action. Wrap up your bio with a call to action. This could be an invitation to connect, a link to your portfolio, or an encouragement for readers to reach out. I guess I didn't give it context, so I didn't think of the bio as part of a media kit here. But the call to action could be, check out our stats on the page, on the next page, or something like that. I don't know if that's worth putting in a media kit though. Then it has an example: from coding to coffee. I'm your friendly neighborhood developer with a penchant for turning caffeine into code. With a background in software engineering and a passion for building user-centric applications, I bring a dash of creativity to every line of code. When not immersed in the digital realm, you'll find me exploring new coffee blends or attempting a record for the fastest 5K in mismatched socks. What the hell does that mean? Let's connect and build something awesome. I would not hire that person because of their weird sock comment. So, nope. Sorry, robot. You lost me. All right. So, 500 Magnum is saying, if you heard about S1819, they are wanting to ban 3D printed guns. Stay on your reps. Oppose. Yep. You should always keep in contact with your representatives so they understand their constituents' opinions on stuff. But I'm not sure something that bans all 3D printing is going to get very far. It's possible, but I don't think it's going to get very far. All right, so that was writing the bio that doesn't put people to sleep. I don't know. Did that seem like it was useful, like expanding that portion of it? to me, that was one of the things that seemed like, oh yeah, anybody can say that, but how do you do it, right? Then it says your portfolio is your highlight reel. Get tips on choosing and presenting your best work. So, tips on choosing and presenting your best work to show you the real deal. For people who are out there considering putting together a media kit, people that have already put together a media kit, and anybody else that wants to participate, do you feel that you're comfortable with having presented your best work? Was it difficult for you to choose which content to present as far as this section when you're constructing the media kit? Was it easy for you to pick the examples? I'll move on while you're answering that one. If you'd like to answer, you'd have to wiggle your fingers. Now, if you're listening to this as a podcast and you'd like to answer that question, feel free. You're just going to be answering it a lot later than everybody else. But we read all the comments. And in the future, when we're super rich, we'll pay people to read the comments. And then someone will answer your question for sure. So feel free to participate in what we're doing here, even if you're listening in the future. Because time doesn't matter on the internet, at least in this direction. Let's see. So then it says numbers that matter. Analytics aren't just for geeks. Find out how to translate your numbers into a language collaborators and sponsors understand. Now that's both the challenge, but also part of the fun. Whenever there's something that's very difficult and there's something that's up to us, there's no rules, there's no cheat guides that I'm aware of. Actually, there might be, but I'm not aware of them. But since that's something that's difficult and most people don't pay attention to, I see that as a potential strong point, some place that you can shine that others aren't even going to be playing the game. Now, it's unfortunate, but it's kind of the teeter-totter there. If there's content creators that don't care about analytics, there's definitely going to be sponsors and collaborators that don't care about analytics, right? So you don't get a free pass just because you pay attention to your analytics, but you can get ahead of a lot of people who don't pay attention to analytics. Yeah, for sure. So as far as analytics go, that means you need to figure out something about them if you haven't already, and then analyze your analytics. Is that the way to say it? And so that you can actually put something out that's useful for the sponsors or the collaborators. Now, I guess a question would be for people going to SHOT Show who are creating media kits. I'm assuming the media kits are for sponsors, but do you put something out there for collaborators? Like if you meet up with somebody who's another content creator, if you meet up with somebody maybe that's not necessarily what you're doing, if you're making blog posts and they're doing photographs, or you're doing videos and they're doing podcasts, is there something that you've come up with to let another, what's that called? Like a peer, a similar, whatever we call ourselves, other media? Or is there something that you're giving to other media? And in that case, are you just giving them a business card? Here's my business card. It's up to you to remember everything that we talked about, everything about me. Or do you give them a little media kit too? Say, hey, remember we talked at SHOT Show, or hey, we met at SHOT Show, and here's a little bit about me. I don't know what we were going to have a chance to talk about at SHOT Show, but here's everything about me. So when you go back to the hotel or you go back home or whatever it is, and you try to remember everybody you met at SHOT Show, I can barely remember our conversation, but they did give me their media kit, and now I know all about this person, and now I definitely remember the person I talked to, and now I know all about them. Like, is that appropriate at SHOT Show, at a trade show for the industry where we're going to be meeting? I think it's something like 2,500 other media and potentially 60,000 people in the industry that are attending the show. And then another 20-something thousand that are there working at the show. I think that's how it comes down. So there's a lot of potential there. And because of that, people are going to forget everything all the time. We're all drinking from a fire hose the entire time. Some of us that have been doing it for a while figure out tips and ways to ignore. I ignore a lot so that I don't have to remember as much. And I still forget a bunch because it's going to stress me out to try to remember as much as I do remember, even after filtering out as much as I can. If you're not good at filtering stuff out, if you haven't, I've been to SHOT Show since 2005. So there's everything that I've seen 17 times. I don't have to look at again. Like I can filter that out easily. But till you've seen it 17 times, you don't know to filter that out already. So it can be tough. So if you're going to be contacting people that have only been to SHOT Show a few times, which is most people, then there's a lot of people overwhelmed. So expecting them to remember everything. Can you remember everybody you met at SHOT Show? Maybe that's another way to think of it. So having a media kit for other collaborators, is that so far out of the question? I mean, if you want to work with them and if you want to try to remember them, how are you going to come up with that? But I guess that's beyond media kits. So anyway, I went through what we got on the screen here, the description of the video, which was essentially the results of one of the AIs out there. And I asked it something about a media kit. I forgot what I even asked it. I think I asked it originally. What did I ask it originally? What to include in a conversation about media kits. And then I tweaked it a bunch of times. So that's what I sort of started out the show by going through this outline of like 5 parts. And then we've been digging into a few of them. So are we beating a dead horse here? Is media kit something that people are not as interested in as, I don't know, I'm not that interested in, period, question mark? Or is it something people feel pretty comfortable with? It's possible that people have made theirs already and they're eager to see what's going to happen with them. Have you used your media kit other places besides SHOT Show? Here's another question. Like, do you bring your media kit with you to other events? Do you send it out via email or have it available on a website or something like that so that you've had a chance to get some feedback on it? Is there anything stopping you from sending out your media kit ahead of time to a bunch of people? That could give you some feedback way before SHOT Show and could hook up some collaborations way before SHOT Show. Could let you know ahead of time that this company, they pretty much told me to pound sand. There's no reason to go hang out with them at SHOT Show. Or maybe they told you to pound sand, so now you have a reason to double down and really try to impress them at SHOT Show. But is that better off than getting shot down at SHOT Show for the first time when you don't have a chance to do much about it while you're there? Sending out, how much does it cost to send out a bunch of media kits ahead of SHOT Show? Is that a strategy people have used? It's weird not having anybody answer. So probably leave those as final questions, I guess. And yeah, I'll leave those as final questions. It also looks like my internet's, I'm not even sure if this is getting through. So we will start wrapping it up here. The goal on Tuesdays is to offer some inspiration and some motivation, not necessarily answers. Anybody that's offering answers, I'd be skeptical of. Things change pretty quick. And just because something works for me, I'm me, I'm doing my thing. I've got my, advantages and disadvantages over here. Everybody else has theirs. So what works for some people might not work for others. Sometimes you can get a general idea of what seems to be working for a lot of people. And those could potentially be sold or offered as quote unquote answers or directions. But the thing is, things change constantly. The internet is this crazy, like bunch of ice cubes or icebergs floating. And you really don't want to start building houses on it unless you're super satisfied that nothing's moving. But things tend to move. So having a flexible and dynamic, changing strategy tends to be a winning one for things like the SHOT and going to events that happen each year with so many moving parts. She Fire says, I'm considering some type of leave behind at SHOT Show booths to have handy if asked. Yep. And I think, that's where you get into merch, and that's where merch can be so beneficial. And then at the other side, there's certainly pitfalls to that. We could let's get into merch next week, because a media kit, can go hand in hand with merch. Potentially they can be swapped, used interchangeably, or not. I guess interchangeably is the word. Like sometimes a media kit isn't the way to say hey to somebody or leave, but a patch or a sticker or a decal or a hat. I don't know. A hat's kind of heavy to carry around, but something you can leave behind that's going to remind them oh yeah, we had that conversation and I definitely want to talk to this person again. That can be very effective. There's something to be said for, I'm a big fan of the patches, of course, but there's something to be said for as more and more places have patch panels at their booths, or opportunities at least to put a patch on display at a booth. And since there's so many patch people out there, um, the that can become an element of more and more people's like experience at shot. Um, that's a way to kind of get more and more, if with a useful image on the patch, it's a way to get more coverage than ever. Think about a simple example. Somebody, you give somebody a patch, or you give a bunch of people patches at SHOT Show. They start putting them on their patch panels. Pictures start getting taken, and all of a sudden your patch is in all kinds of pictures out there. People are kind of the same as a billboard or the same as product placement in a movie. People start getting familiar with your patch. They start seeing your patch with, I don't know, different surroundings. They start to get familiar with your patch being, part. They get accustomed to your patch being part of these different surroundings. So there's a lot to that. And having a patch that you can barely see, having a patch that's a big, green smear with a red line in it that looks like, I'm thinking of like Boba Fett's symbol or something. Looks cool, but from a distance, it looks like a big green smear with a line going through it. If you're Nike, that works. But everybody else, think about how your patch is going to look on a patch panel. Think about how it's going to look on an arm or a button or a sticker. Think about how it's going to look on a display with others. But in any case, there is definitely, I think, a lot of advantage to leaving something behind. Plus, it just opens up a whole other realm of, or layer of SHOT Show, where the people that trade that stuff and the people that appreciate that stuff, are just, it's like motorcyclists. There's all the drivers, and then there's the motorcyclists, and they're all going to kind of nod to each other, even if they don't know each other. That's how it is with the patch people or the sticker people. And then Unapologetically Armed says, reach out about the buttons, please. So, yeah, I need to do that. I've got them both sitting here. I put together my second button machine just to see what was going on with it. And I don't know, maybe I can do a video or something. I'm not sure exactly what your question was about it, but I can pull the box down with all the button guts in it and try putting together some buttons here. I might be able to do that. Today's Tuesday, right? I might be able to do that, but I don't want to guarantee nothing. If I can't do it today, I'll try to get it this week for sure. I don't know how quickly you need it, but let me know on Instagram if you need it quicker than the general this week. But with that, we're going to wrap this one up. I'm more than happy to talk about some of these issues in more depth in a future show, or individually if somebody's got a specific question or a question about maybe analytics that you don't want to make public. But thanks everybody for joining us. We do this on early morning on Tuesdays, so that we can kind of spread out. We used to do these all the shows at midnight Eastern. I kind of like doing them then, but it seems like nobody's awake at midnight Eastern for some reason. It's only 9 o'clock on the East Coast, so it's not that big a thing, but definitely not as many people awake at midnight Eastern. So I do some of these in the daytime to offset that. But I also, and I'm looking over here right now, I also do it in order to do the show on early Tuesdays so that we can send you over to Cape Gunworks to their show. But I don't see it posted yet. So normally on Tuesdays, Toby from Cape Gunworks will go live for 45 minutes with Grace Curley and do a 2 Tuesday segment of that show. And sometimes it's posted. I might have gone live a little too early today. What time is it? It's 11. Should I have gone live at 11 my time? And an hour from now he'll be going? I don't know. Everybody changes their times and it screws with us. So I might have gone wrong. Did I go live an hour shifted today? You'll all know because you all have the same time zones, I think. So since I can't link to that one, Ghost has some kind of a thing going on tonight. I can jump over to this and grab that, and we'll just click on edit video right here real quick. We're going to go inside the YouTube video itself. This will feel a little bit weird. We're just turning this video up inside out. It's no big deal. And when this opens up into the studio, or whatever it's called. Wow, see how slow my internet is? This is why people go, oh, you got a big fancy podcast, you must have good internet. No, not really. So then we'll go to customization over here. And then we'll scroll down a little bit and we'll go to redirect right there. And that's where we'll jam Ghosts show in here. And then we'll say save. So you can go check that out. That's not till like way later tonight, so you got a little while. Since you're in here, if you go to details, here's what's neat. You can now click on products. What? So look, I'm showing you this knife right now. This super cool Civivi. I think it's an Elementum 2, right? I think. With the cool button lock so that the blade just falls like that. Super awesome. Super easy to open. There's no spring or anything. It's got ceramic ball bearings or something, I'm told. So, yeah, right. I'm showing off that knife in the video. No big deal. But now let's just go down here and type in Civivi Ultimum or something. Let's see what happens. All right, let's get rid of that Ulti part. Oh, it won't let me pick nothing but the store. So I can't pick nothing but the store. But on regular videos now, you can pick products over there. It's pretty neat. So anyway, we'll save this. Did I already save it? I think I did. So we'll just jump back out and look at the video again. But on a regular video now, you can tag stuff on YouTube. It's pretty neat. I guess we don't need the video back again. So if you want to go check out Ghost Show in about 6 hours, or at some point here, Ultum, thanks, the video back again. So if you want to go check out Ghost Show in about, whoops. Yeah, isn't this knife nice? This is the Ultium is what they call it, I guess. I call it honey because it looks like solid honey. And I really like the button lock so that you don't have to have your fingers anywhere near the blade and it'll just close. Oh, I jabbed it into a puppy accidentally. All right, well, so with that, we'll wrap this thing up. We will throw a quick commercial in here for our store. I want to thank Pat in the bunker, who was the last person to grab something over at the store. So Pat will be getting all kinds of extra loot for the bunker. Thanks our Patreons and the people that super chat and the people that are YouTube channel members. All of that helps pay for those servers and the software. One of these days we'll be getting some new software. Looking forward to that. And then we can have conversations here about how to make your websites even better. There's the mushroom burrito wiggle. So that anybody who thinks that he's made out of porcelain or plastic, nope, he's made out of real fur and fat. All right, now we can throw the commercial up here. See it? Take it easy.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.